Hello everyone, in this video tutorial I'll take you through module 3 of wireless sensor network. So in this video lecture I'll take you through this SMAC, where S stands for sleep and MAC is an acronym for medium access control. So previous to this SMAC, you need to have an idea about carrier sense medium access collision avoidance technique. So this technique was mainly built for wireless communication because CSMA-CD is only applicable for wired medium, but whereas CSMA-CA, that is collision avoidance, is applicable for wireless medium, because the amount of energy involved in wireless communication is very low due to the scattering of the signal. So thereby they went for collision avoidance technique. So here this CSMA collision avoidance technique has disadvantage of requiring nodes to continuously sense the channel for inactivity. Duty cycle operation has been introduced through the SMAC protocol. So here in sleep MAC will introduce a new concept of duty cycle, and this, as we all know, this duty cycle is T on divided by entire time period. So here also we have a formula for this duty cycle, that which is given as listen interval to the total frame duration. So this entire thing is called as a single frame, and this frame actually decides the activity of a node, and it has a scheduled activity. Now this frame contains two parts. One is listen interval and the other one is sleep interval. During the sleep interval, the node will switch off its radio and will get detached from the network, and on the other part, that is the listen interval, so the node starts to listen to the carrier if there is any activity in there. So this duty cycle formula is given as listen interval to the total frame interval. The activity of a node is scheduled according to a specific amount of time called frame. So according to this frame, during sleep interval it sleeps, and only during listen interval it will listen to the carrier, or it will sense the carrier or the channel. So this sleep interval was mainly introduced in order to conserve energy, because most of the nodes are battery operated and they need to achieve higher energy efficiency. So that is why the sleep interval plays a very important role. So here the sync field of listen interval in turn contains sensor node ID, as well as the other part contains next step timer, and this data part of the listen interval, actually using this node will find their intended receiver. So this diagram gives you an idea about listen and sleep intervals of SMAC. So here we got to explain duty cycle and sleep interval, followed by we have periodic listen and sleep. So here SMAC has few characteristics, and the very first characteristic is periodic listen and sleep. So here the drawback of CSMA-CA was that it had idle listening, that which consumed most of its battery juice, but whereas here it has periodic listen. Only during the listen interval this will listen to the channel or to the carrier. So the main idea SMAC is to construct virtual clusters of nodes that sleeps and wakes up at the same time. So here the main idea of SMAC is to construct virtual clusters. What are virtual clusters? So virtual clusters are these. So a single virtual cluster contains synchronizer, follower nodes and border node, and let's see how these nodes are getting formed. So basically they are all the similar, they have the similar sort of hardware, but the only thing is, out of those nodes some clusters will be formed, out of which few will become synchronizer, most of them will become follower, and very few will become border node. So for periodic listen and sleep, the SMAC constructs virtual clusters of nodes that sleeps and wakes up at the same time. Goal is reached through periodic synchronization message sync. So here we have this sync field that which is used for periodic synchronization purpose. Now let's see how exactly these nodes get converted into synchronizer. So initially, during the protocol initialization, a node listens to the channel for some amount of time, long enough to receive any sync packets sent by its neighbors. If no sync packet is received during this interval, the node determines its own sleep schedule and broadcasts sync packet. Now here, that is how synchronizer nodes are formed. So node determines its own schedule and broadcasts sync message, and thereby it becomes synchronizer, and later it will broadcast a sync packet to all its neighboring nodes, and those nodes that which receives this sync packet, that is the schedule, before choosing its own they are called as followers. So these nodes that which are black in color are the followers, and then we have these border nodes, and these are the nodes that which receives schedule from the neighbor nodes after it has selected its own schedule. So first of all it would have scheduled its own schedule, but along with that it receives its neighbor's schedule also, and that is how border nodes are actually created. So these are the virtual clusters of SMAC protocol. Next concept is overhearing, and we'll be going through that in our next video.